Hello, everyone. Thank you, first of all, to Microsoft Portugal for putting together this event and inviting me again and to speak a little bit about, in this case, creativity in the age of automation. My name is Kwame Ferreira. I am calling you guys from somewhere in southern Portugal. I run a company called Impossible. It's a group of highly creative people, designers, engineers, marketeers, and we create planet-centric products and services through amazing teams. And I'm going to go through a few of those products and services that we create in a planet-centric way. But before getting there, there's a bit of a journey, which I'd like you to go on with me. So here we go. Wicked problems. What are wicked problems? Wicked problems are problems that you look at it from different places, and they're really hard to solve, and they can never really be solved because you can't really solve education. Somebody's going to, forget something, or somebody's going to grow up and need school. So it's not like you're going to go, oh, education is solved, or poverty is solved, or sustainability, or homelessness. There's always somebody that falls on hard times and needs help. So these are the so-called wicked problems, and these are the problems that me and my teams really rally around to try and solve. For many years, we've been solving these problems using design thinking, we then realized that design thinking is actually killing the planet. And so we stopped using design thinking and we evolved it. We took some of the great aspects of it, but we felt the need to take it to the next level. And the reason why is because design thinking puts at the center of the creative process the individual. And what happens is you then pamper to the individual's needs. I want a car outside to take me somewhere. I want food right here, and you get somebody bringing you food. And so it's it's very much a me culture, right? Very servantile, and it pays very little attention to anything beyond the individual needs. And that presents us with a problem, right? The benefits are, if you look at global life expectancy, child mortality, all these variables, they've been really we've been benefiting from this type of thinking, of individualistic thinking, for a very long time in a market economy. The cost, however, is that if you look at the planet as a whole right now, we have more man-made things and products than the whole of nature combined in terms of weight, right? We spend more time with our products, with our phones, with our technology than with our kids. And we have more animals in captivity than actually exist in the wild, right? So there are issues here. There's a cost to this way of thinking that puts the individual at the very core of the creative process. And so we came up with planet-centric design in a way to really solve for if you solve for individuals, you're going to get growth, and if you solve for the planet, you're going to get balance. So we want to work backwards from a future that we desire and that we want, and that is ultimately more balanced, where we can find more equilibrium in the different systems and the different products and businesses that we create. In order to do so, what we do is we convert problems into goals. So it's called alignment. Planet-centric design is an open source process. You can check it out online. Alignment is one of the first phases. We have all these amazing goals that were set by the UN. And we, as creators, we need to align to those goals, right? And in order to align to those goals, we need to ask some questions, and we need to understand what those goals are about and how to really divide them. and as we start doing that, we start realizing that there's a logic to where we want to get to that planet that is perfectly balanced, and that logic really comes from us trying to understand, or coming to grips with the fact that we come from an extractivist culture, right? We extract, we mine energy and resources. Now we're mining ourselves, our behavior, and what we're doing is we're taking all that. So we're mining resources to create products and machines and technology, and we're mining ourselves to teach those machines and that technology towards this future we want. But what is this future we want? It's a future of intelligent machines, and I know that the overarching theme of um, of your conference is really more around artificial intelligence. So trying to go in that direction. So what future do we want? We want a future where we go from an extractivist culture to a regenerative culture, right? Where we teach the machines to be increasingly competent, um, in order to help us get out of this addiction, which is undermining the very existence of life in the planet, right? So it's a big challenge, and we don't really believe we can do it anymore without technology or without services, by all just going into a cabin in the woods. That's not going to happen. Um, so what we need to do is find some sort of symbiosis, between humans and machines, right? We run on stories and beliefs, and uh, we think long-term complex goals. Um, Artificial intelligence is still very much at this, it's very narrow. It's narrow intelligence. It's not general intelligence yet. Well, it's getting there, it's learning from us. But it's still very much run on data, and it's faster, and it's short term. It's very specific to tasks that are taking over some of the jobs that we used to have. And so we, as at Impossible, our teams look at machines from a symbiotic perspective, right? And look at AI from a symbiotic perspective. So early on, we started. This is a project we made called Stand. The idea here is that we can't really afford human trainers, right? So why can't we get our phone? Why can't we get the machine to train us? Well, in order for the machine to train us, it needs to understand us. It needs to understand our pose, body. It needs to know where our every joint are, and with that knowledge, equipped with that knowledge, is actually able to then shout out, put your hips a little bit more up, or stretch your legs, or and so exercise becomes much more accurate, without you having to pay for somebody to actually tell you and motivate you. So this type of accuracy, we're still not there yet, but it's getting very close, and it allows us to have this was a really good example of how our team started to crystallize the symbiosis between machine and human beings. A lot of our teams are dedicated to cancer research. So they help companies out there like the Roche, coming up with tumor boards and all sorts of solving complex service problems. What we've realized is that, again, it's an area where if you look at pathology and biopsies, machines already do a better job than human beings, right? So what are pathologists going to do? And so the question here towards this future we want is we take this symbiosis, and we say, okay, machine, you do the biopsy, you do it better than we do, pathologists, but we're going to take the opportunity to retrain, right, to become better pathologists. So there are loads of things that from a medical perspective and a relationship perspective to patients, there are still to be achieved. And so this presents itself as an opportunity rather than a threat, the symbiosis, right? Where we take a lot of load from the human being, and we focus the human in human-to-human interaction. Nikabot actually runs on Microsoft Teams. We digitized our office manager. Her name was Nika, and we turned her into a bot and does all the time tracking for us. And it, jobs up for robots in many ways. And now she's doing something much more interesting. The idea here is that we can, through automation, it frees us up to then think, what else can we do on top of this? Can we look at how the individuals are performing within the company, mental health. So there's a lot that can be done, and it's this, again, the symbiosis between man and machine yields wonderful fruits. Bond, very simple. These are bracelets. It's one of the most successful startups in Portugal right now. How can we improve relationships, right? I give my bracelet to somebody, hopefully my partner. I touch my bracelet, my partner feels that touch. That's the beginning of the story. Where the story is going is we want the machine, we want the system, we want the service we are designing to really analyze behavioral patterns, right? And give us advice. This is actually what you should be doing with your relationship. You're not communicating as much as you should. You should take her out to the movies a little bit more post-COVID, obviously. So again, another perfect example of AI and the symbiosis between an artificial intelligence, which is still quite narrow, and humans, us. We're hiring, and we're very happy to be here and being able to present this to you guys. I know I spoke very fast, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Goodbye.